the mentality is the same. And Cozad, growing up in Cozad, we're a pretty big football town. We pride ourselves on, all the things that, you hope for when you play the game of football, being hard-nosed, tough, all the things. That's what Cozad is. We're a blue-collar community. So the kids are the same. The want to the same. The hard work's still there. Again, it's just the numbers are a little bit different for whatever reason. And it's not just a Cozad problem. It's kind of everywhere. It seems like kiddos just aren't going out for football like they used to. So hopefully, again, we can get that change here in Cozad, and hopefully we can be an example for all the other towns to start making it happen again.
Welcome back to Small Town Ball, a Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps production. I'm Austin Jacobson. We are now speaking with the head coach for the Cozad Haymaker football program, Jared Crick, and of course, former Husker, Blackshirt, all that good stuff. Do you prefer being titled head coach first, or do you want to be former Blackshirt? Have you decided that yet? How do you lean?
Probably just head coach now. None of my kids were even around I think back in the day when I was Blackshirt, and so no, head coach is good enough for me right now.
So you don't have to put on any highlight tape or any of your old Haymaker days or anything like that to make sure that you can still show them around a little bit?
They wouldn't believe it were me anyway. I could try to show them all the things, and I'm just an old man to them.
Well, I'm sure you get plenty of Husker questions, but I wanted to talk to you about your first year being a head coach for your alma mater in Cozad. So just to get started, you retire from the NFL. Is it immediately heading right back to Cozad where you go and work in the insurance agency, or how did that kind of come about, and how did you get back to your hometown?
Yeah, it actually took us a little bit to get back to Nebraska. I finished my career in Denver, had back surgery, so we stayed out there for a little bit to keep rehabbing. I tried to get back in the league, but once you kind of cut into your back and your neck, you're kind of damaged good at that point. So we hung out in Denver for a little bit, decided to move back to Nebraska. Didn't know if we were going to move back to the city or back to our hometown of Cozad. We figured we'd come back here, at least give ourselves some options. Coronavirus kind of hit, so we stayed put, and we're, been here ever since. Didn't start doing insurance until a couple years ago. But as far as football goes, this is my first time getting back in for a long time. I kind of kept my nose to the grindstone doing the insurance thing, trying to build our business here. So that didn't allow me a lot of bandwidth to help out with football at all, which I was kind of bummed about. But when this opportunity opened up, I just kind of felt that it was not a calling per se, but it was something that I would be able to do. And I think we were in a good enough place as far as, the insurance stuff to where I can make it happen. So here we are. I'm excited. Today's our first day of conditioning, and we're going to end up seeing what we have to work with this fall.
So were you doing the Friday night lights thing where you were standing on the fence on Friday nights and like shouting at the players and just giving them tips and pointers, or how separated were you from football during that time, during the coronavirus, and when you were just building up your professional career?
Yeah, no, I removed myself pretty good, because if I were at the games, I wouldn't be able to just sit still. Like, I'd want to get out on the field and do it for them. To where I knew it was probably better if I just watched the kiddos on TV. Obviously, I still had like my 2 cents here and there that I would shoot to the assistant coaches, but they did a good job. The head coaches of the past, they did a great job with these kids, getting them ready to play the right way. So it wasn't like a deal where I needed to come in and correct anybody. It was just, that itch. Once you're a football guy, you're always a football guy. So watching it from TV was the best spot the last couple of years. But now it's kind of my show. I can run it how I want it. I got nobody to blame but myself. So it's exciting. And it's something that I think was going to happen in time, somewhere, where it's Cozad or, any level wanted me to get back into football. It was going to happen at some point. I was planning on helping last year even. So, but now that it's kind of my show, I'm the head coach. I can run the show how I want to, see what works, see what doesn't. It's exciting. And, today's day one. So we're going to end up seeing who wants to do hard things. So it's kind of weird. Football's in a weird place right now. Attendance and participation isn't what it used to be. So we got to get football back to being fun, to where the kids want to come out and again, do hard things again. It seems like society's gotten pretty soft to where football isn't an expectation anymore. It's just something that, for whatever reason, the excitement kind of went away. So trying to get that back, at least here in Cozad. Hopefully we can build into our county and throughout the state.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff right there. I want to go back to kind of the initial call that you got. Who reached out to who first? Because you mentioned first coaching experience. You're going to be the head coach at your alma mater. Did you reach out to the Cozad administration, or was there a kind of a feeler that went out from someone in between you two when you knew that the opening would come up with Cozad?
It was mainly the community. When the job became available this April, had a bunch of people ask if I was going to take it, and I kind of thought about, no, they'll probably find someone way better, someone who's been coaching the last, couple years to come in and has all the experience. Like, yeah, I think I do good, but they'll find someone better. And, I sent out a feeler to the school system. I think they have to approach, or you have to approach them. They can't approach you. So I just sent a feeler out to see, if they're even looking for somebody who doesn't have any experience like I did. And they said, come in and do an interview. And so I did, and wasn't too much longer. I ended up getting offered the position. So that was cool. But yeah, now it's leaning on, coaches that have been around for a while. My staff's going to be the same. So I'm going to be leaning on them as far as, the logistics part of it. Because you come in, you expect just to do the X's and O's and to work with the kids. But really, there's a lot more that goes into it as far as like the administrative stuff, scheduling buses, scheduling, facilities, that kind of thing. Stuff that you don't think about when you apply for jobs like this. But I'm excited. I'm learning a lot, but I got a lot of great help. And it helps that this is my alma mater. So I know everybody already. It's not like I'm coming into a new situation trying to learn all the things for the first time. So I got a lot of people to lean on, and I've been doing that. And hopefully they, keep letting me lean on them for a little bit longer.
So how much has changed from those last moments of you being a Haymaker and taking off the uniform? I know that there's been a lot of, improvements in the just atmosphere, and as well as at the stadium, and then everything that comes in between there at the weight room and facilities and everything else. But for you personally, how different is it to get out there from wearing shoulder pads and now putting on a headset for the first time in these next coming weeks?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the jerseys are a lot nicer these days. They're definitely not the monstrosities we wore back in, the mid 2000s. But the kiddos are the same. The kids that are out, we got a couple weeks with them here this summer. The mentality is the same. And Cozad, growing up in Cozad, we're a pretty big football town. We pride ourselves on, all the things that, you hope for when you play the game of football, being hard-nosed, tough, all the things. That's what Cozad is. We're a blue-collar community. So the kids are the same. The want to the same. The hard work's still there. Again, it's just the numbers are a little bit different for whatever reason. And it's not just a Cozad problem. It's kind of everywhere. It seems that kiddos just aren't going out for football like they used to. So hopefully, again, we can get that change here in Cozad, and hopefully we can be an example for all the other towns to start making it happen again. But, it'll be a little bit different. It's pretty cool though, because, I devoted a lot of sweat and tears into this place as a player. So being able to do it as a coach and having a little bit of name recognition probably helps me a little bit with the kiddos. I know they weren't, old enough to remember me playing, but having the credibility I have, done the thing in college, done the thing in the highest level, coming in, being able to try to download some of the things I know to them is going to be nice for me, because it does me no good sticking around my brain anymore. I need to transmit it elsewhere. So being a head coach is probably the best way to do it. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to be coaching with the coaches I got. I played with a couple of the coaches in high school. I played with one of them in Lincoln, and Drew Young. So I'm excited to be working with him. And, the couple of these guys already got state championship rings. So I'm coming into good company. I'm excited to work with these guys, excited to work with these kids, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So you talked a little bit about just bringing that mentality, that toughness back to football and making it fun, having kids want to get back out there. Is that just kind of an emulation from your days playing football, just the way you enjoyed it and how you kind of saw the sport growing up in Cozad?
Yeah, and the biggest thing for us, the most fun I've ever had playing football was in high school. Reason being because you're playing with the kids you grew up with. When you get to college, you meet a new, friend group, and you're still playing with your boys, but you're only with them for 3 to 5 years tops. High school, you've been, like I said, you've been playing with these kids since you were able to walk in a lot of cases. And in the NFL, it's all a business. You're just coworkers at that point. There's not a lot of camaraderie. So this is the most fun you're going to have playing the sport of football. So if we can, bring awareness to that for these kiddos, like, hey, some of you, especially our seniors, this is your last chance to go out there, because you're going to be 35 years old like me and still be thinking about all the things you could have did differently in high school. Forget all the things in the NFL. college even. Like that's all past tense. I don't care about that so much. Things I do care about is stuff I wish I would have differently in high school to make that experience better. So again, as long as these kids pick up what we're putting down as far as, the things that go a part of football that aren't exactly X's and O's and, technique and stuff like that, just the mentality, stuff like that going in. As long as they'll listen to what we have to say, I think they're going to have a heck of a time because, again, at this level, nobody's getting paid, at least not around here. I don't know what's going on elsewhere, but this is meant to be fun. We're meant to be, preparing these kids for the next step, whether it be, college, the military, or right into the real world. Football is the best tool to use to, get yourself prepared for the real world because the real world is not a nice place. So football is a great tool at how to deal with adversity and all the things. So as long as we can impart that as well as, try to win some games, I think they're going to have a great experience with us.
So when it comes to your head coaching philosophy, as you're just starting to kind of grow and learn it yourself in this first year, what are those first practices going to look like? Have you already scripted them out, or are you leaning on that assistant staff that you mentioned is already coming back? Is it getting back to basics? Is it trying to work on something first? What do you see those first days looking like?
So it's gonna be fun because our offensive coordinator Drew Young, he's been here for a long time. The offenses have been in place for almost a decade. So the kids coming in this summer, they were able to pick up the offense right away. Whereas our defense is going to be completely different than what we've ran in the past. So it's going to be different techniques. It's going to be taking it a lot slower. So when we're in our offensive periods, obviously the kiddos are going warp speed, doing the thing. Technique looks great. On defense, we're still floating a little bit. We're still trying to figure it out. So we got to slow it down, meet them where they're at on the defensive side of the ball, which I think pays dividends. I mean, you can't go fast until you essentially crawl. So we're doing that right now. We're in our crawling stage, and the faster the kiddos pick it up, it's not going to be like overly complicated. You can't make it the most complex thing in the history, especially not 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. So again, just meet them where they're at. Find out what they're good at and complement, your scheme to them, not the other way around. I could throw the best defense, I think, in the history of football out there, but if the kids can't execute it, there's no point in doing it. So it's going to be a lot of different things, figuring out what they can pick up quick, what's going to take some time, and the things that, aren't efficient, throw out immediately. Like I said, there's a lot of things I want to do, but if the kiddos can't make it happen, then we can't run it. That's just high school football. Mm-hmm. But I think we got smart kids, we got tough kids. They're going to at least give it a shot, and that's all I can ask of them.
So your defensive philosophy, I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot of defensive line driven. I'd hope so at least. But when you look back on your professional career, your college career, even your high school career, which of those coaching staffs stood out to you the most that you kind of emulate your coaching tendencies, your philosophy behind?
Oh, man, that's tough because it's truly like a hybrid of everything that I picked up. I mean, I played with some great first of all, my high school coaches were great as far as teaching us how to play the game of football, the mentality that it takes, being relentless, all that stuff. And that carried me into college. In college, obviously, I had, Bo Pelini as defensive coordinator. For whatever anybody says about him, like, he's a great football mind. Like, he knows the game of football. He's a great, defensive guy. Then when I got to the NFL, playing under a guy like Wade Phillips and Romeo Crennel, they all, separate different defenses, but all – brilliant minds. So I'm trying to pull a little bit from everybody to try to morph into my own little deal. So we'll see how it ends up being. But this year might be a little bit of trial and error as far as the defense is concerned. But that's the fun of it. The chess part of it is, figuring out what you're good at and, rolling it out there against somebody else. So we'll see week one, really, see what we got. I mean, we can look great during camp, but when the bullets start flying, that's where you truly know what you got. So I think the kids are going to respond good. They've been responding very well over the summer. I've been pleased with how they're going. So, again, tonight, week one, start conditioning. We'll see if they've been doing all the things we've asked them to do throughout the summer to stay in shape, and that way we can hit the ball or hit the ground running here once we hit tonight.
So, Coach, as you look at kind of the way that your career is going, and especially just these past couple of months, how quickly it goes through the summer and then getting ready for fall camp, how do you put expectations on this upcoming season? Because I'm sure that the kids that have been in the program that finished on a 7-win season last year, they have a certain expectation of where they would like to go and where they would like to continue to rise for the team, the program, and the school and such. But for you, is it more difficult when you're kind of drinking from the fire hose right now, just trying to kind of take it all in and know how to set the expectation level for just yourself?
Yeah. So great question. Yeah. I'm lucky in a way because I'm coming into a good situation. It's not like we're in starting all over. We're literally picking up where trying to pick up where we left off from last year, which was a playoff team, a district champion team. And the kids are used to winning. So that's good. It's not like we have to instill like this positive mentality after decades or years of, that losing mentality. We don't have to do that. These kids are already used to winning. So they already know how to work. They already know how to do all the things the right way, which makes it super easy for me. Really, it's the onus is on me now to pick up where we left off and improve. So again, we were in a good spot after last year, did a lot of good things. Now it's just not regressing, it's progressing. And again, having the staff, keeping that continuity with the staff is going to be great for not just myself, but for the kids, having a familiar face. But I think everything what we're doing is, for improvement. Like I said, offense is going to be pretty much the same. The kids aren't learning a whole brand new offense. Defense, yes, there's going to be a lot of trial and error, seeing what we're good at, what we need to improve on, where we really just need a flat out scrap. So again, we won't really know too much until we get a couple days, if not a couple weeks into camp. But, hopefully we're in a good spot where kids are confident going into week one. We're not wondering what our deficiencies are, where we're strong at. The kids know exactly what they are, and then they can just go out there and play fast and make plays.
Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about going back to your roots and especially just coaching in Cozad now. Dawson County is such a tradition-rich area of great athletes, great teams, and very high competitive rivalries too between Gothenburg, Lexington, Cozad. I mean, you could even throw Overton in there. If you want to travel up to Custer County, you can go down to Phelps and Holdridge. It's a unique area where a lot of the towns have so much pride. What separates Cozad from some of the other towns that are just down Highway 30, whether it's Gothenburg or Lexington?
I would think, there's been great players coming out of Gothenburg, Lex, our communities, just central Nebraska in general. There's been great talent to come out of here. But I think by and large, like Cozad, we've put in, at least, at the upper level, I think we put in more athletes than anybody else. For a town of 3,500 to put, a couple guys who went to the NFL, multiple guys that went to play at the next level, not just Division I, but throughout the college ranks. Cozad, we crank out a lot of talent, and that's something we take pride in. That's something that, we try to instill in these young kids, that it is possible to accomplish your dreams. You just got to do the thing. You got to work hard and make it happen. And so that's something that the kids, I think they're motivated. If they want to go on and play the next level, they had the motivation to do it. We're just going to teach them how to do it, hopefully in a more efficient way. And like I said, that being that a lot of us have college experience, we're going to be able to download that to the kiddos so they're not, shell shocked by, if they get an opportunity to, they start getting letters from colleges, that kind of thing. But again, yeah, Lexington has a big time Hall of Famer. Gothenburg has, a lot of great talent come out of there. So we're not the only ones by any means, which is awesome. The whole Southwest Conference has, cranked out so much talent just in our little area there. Not just Division I, but a lot of NFL guys too. So we take a lot of pride playing in the Southwest Conference. It's a great conference, and it's kind of nice to have that rivalry, not just with Lex and Gothenburg being the proximity that we're in, but again, playing Holdridge for decades, been playing, Broken Bow for decades. So these are all teams that we're used to each other, and the coaches are great too. Like, I could reach out to any of these coaches, even though we're rivals on Friday nights. They've been awesome, trying to lend advice and stuff like that. So again, just Friday nights is when we're adversaries. Any other time, it's a nice little brotherhood.
So I also would have accepted that Cozad has the best runza in that area, but I mean, that's just probably more opinion based. But I've never had a bad experience at the Cozad runza comparative to anywhere else. So I don't know
they
if you
do a
had
good
that
job.
same
Yeah,
experience.
I don't think you can go wrong anywhere in Cozad America for your food options.
Hey, fair enough. Anytime I come out there, I'm going to have to – I never got into the Cozad local cuisine, so I'm going to have to get some recommendations for you at some point, because something tells me you're probably pretty good at knowing where's a good spot to eat there.
I've sampled a little bit of everything. Yep, I'm quite the connoisseur. You don't get this big by not, so.
Fair enough. Okay, so I do want to – getting back to football, you mentioned the transition of just your head coaching style, but the offense will stay relatively the same under your offensive coordinator. But Noah Shoemaker, the quarterback last year, even if you didn't go to the games and watch him, was pretty electric. I mean, he threw for 25 touchdowns, 7 picks. It's pretty impressive what he did on the ground in the passing game, and he was a pretty stout defensive player too. How do you replace just an individual talent like that, especially in the class size you are and just the area that you're in?
Yeah, you got to have talent, and that's something we do have, especially at the skill position. We have a lot of guys we could roll out there, and camp's going to be one of them deals where we're going to give a couple kids an opportunity to win that starting spot, and they all have been looking good. That's the cool thing about this. I think it's going to be a tough decision, but at the same time, it's going to be an easy decision. It's not like we're trying to, pull something out of nowhere. We got kids already who can make it happen. We just got to find out who's going to give us the best opportunity on Friday nights. And they've been working hard. They've been doing the thing. They've been doing things on their own. They've been doing, the routes with the receivers. So they're all doing the right things. So I think camp, they're all going to look electric. And again, hopefully it's a tough decision on our part. But even if it's not the starting quarterback, they're going to be on the field somewhere because they're just that type of dude. So we're excited about that. Yeah, Noah was a great talent, not just in football, but all the sports. But obviously he's going to do his thing up in Shatter and hopefully represent Cozad the right way. We're excited for him. But, yeah, replacing him's not easy, but we do got kids that are willing to give it a shot, and that's all you can ask for, really.
But I know, obviously, you don't want to talk about quarterbacks and offense. I know you want to talk about defense. And you mentioned a little bit about trying to make it more simple on the defense, not get too crazy with it. But how do you kind of put in what the talent is right now and parlay some of the experience that the team brings back from last season to make it a little bit more complex while also teaching some of the basics and keeping it simple?
Right, yeah, you got to lean on where you're strong. Again, there's not really a weak spot on the defense, especially the defense that we want to roll out there. We kind of tailor-made the defense for the kids that are coming back. Mm-hmm. So we think we're going to be good shape there. But being able to let the playmakers make plays, giving them opportunities to, where they're not tied down to one assignment, they can, flow a little bit freely and, follow the ball, track the ball, that kind of thing. Everything their defensive coordinator will sit there and tell you. So it's not going to be anything different, or we're not reinventing the wheel. But again, it's just being able to highlight where you're most talented. And we got a lot of kids out there who can make plays. So it makes my job a little bit easier. It's not like I'm, only focusing on, a couple kids here and there. Hopefully I can put them in the position to make all the plays. No, we got 11 guys who can make it happen. It's just, finding out ways to where, one defense correlates with the other. So that way you're not, because obviously there's, run heavy packages, there's pass heavy packages. The defenses are going to be different. You got to be multiple nowadays. So it's just trying to find a way to make it simple. If you're going to roll out, your pass defense opposed to your run defense, trying to find ways to make that mesh where the kids can pick it up quick. And, when they change personnels in the game, you can sit there and make adjustments pretty easily. Then that's going to be the biggest thing. It doesn't matter what I know. It only matters what the kiddos end up knowing on Friday nights. So if we make it too complex, even though it may be on paper the best defense in the history, if kiddos can't make it happen on Friday, you're kind of just spinning your wheels. So again, we know that they're only, in some cases 13 years old. They're not going to be like a 32-year-old, NFL veteran that you can roll out 9 different defenses in a week and he's going to be able to pick it up. That's not the case. So again, we got to keep it as simple as possible. That way you can just let the kiddo go out and play fast. But again, I'm not the only high school coach that's ever said that. That's kind of the plan for everybody. So nothing revolutionary, but that's truly the way it is at this level.
So when you first accepted the head coaching role and you looked at the 2025 schedule, how many times did you have to really squint and look and say, what are these schools? I mean, this isn't the regular schools that I was used to seeing when I was here at Cozad. You've got a couple of maybe some unfamiliar faces in there, or did you recognize all the schools that you have coming up?
Yeah, all but one. I actually played in high school. Central City is the only matchup where we didn't play Central City, so that's going to be different for me. Just seeing the logo on the other side of the helmet, being Central City opposed to everybody else. Sydney, we played Sydney. Everybody on the Southwest Conference, we played them, so no change there. Going to be used to seeing those guys. But yeah, Central City is going to be a little bit different. But at the end, that's why I'll lean on my coaching staff who's played Central City. I don't know how many times, more than a handful. I know that. So we have some experience. And the great thing is, there's like huddle now. Like obviously there was something like that in college and obviously in the league too. And when I was in high school, no, like we literally watched the old VHS tape. Well, you had no idea what you were looking at anyway. So having those capabilities, doesn't matter who we play. We could play anybody out in Omaha. At least we're going to have a good read on what they want to do and be able to scout properly. So again, even though I haven't personally seen them or played them in any capacity, we'll be fine. We'll be able to know what they're wanting to run. We'll have something for it.
Doesn't matter who it is going to line up and play Haymaker football, and you've got a tough slate in that first season for you. Your first 2 games are 2 teams that played each other in the semifinal round of the Class C1 playoffs a year ago. So you're getting Sydney at home in week 1, and then you have Central City, as you mentioned. The rest of the schedule, I guess, technically lightens up, but it's all, like you mentioned, close rivalry teams that know your program really well, know the community really well. I mean, how do you just accept what it is coming into that first couple of games and just knowing it's going to be an uphill battle, especially against some of the state's best?
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I actually prefer a schedule like that. Not to say like the later part of the schedule is soft by any means, because you're right. Yeah, a lot of it's going to be rivalry games where they know what we want to do, we know what they want to do. It's just going to be a fist fight out on the field. But starting out with, like you said, 2 playoff teams, we have to start fast. We have to get our engine running quick. So that there's a sense of urgency there, which is going to help us out, because if we can start fast, then all we got to do is maintain, and we can just go about our business every single week. It's not like we got to gear up for our big, game in the middle of the season. We start out on a good level. Like I said, all we got to do is just maintain that, and that's the easy part. So I'm excited. It's going to be a challenge, because it's 2 different offenses, one after the other. So it's going to take some creativity on our part to figure out how we're going to combat that and how we're going to attack. So I'm excited. That's the fun part of this game, is being able to be that mad scientist, up late at night trying to figure out what you want to end up doing. So I'm looking forward to that. And we've obviously done a little bit of a scouting, so I think we have an idea. But yeah, it's just going to be the key's going to be keeping those kids playing at a high level. And, every week's going to be different. I mean, they could be, 1-8, and they could still beat you. Anything can happen. So you got to can't let the kids get too high, can't let them get too low. You just got to keep them even keeled, hungry always. And I think we got the coaching staff that can make that happen. And we got the kids who are motivated, ready to go. So we just got to take care of them physically as we get in the later part of the season, which we know how to do. So it's just going to be, keeping them engaged, motivated mentally, and keep them sharp. Because, like I said, once you get going, football is actually a mental sport. I mean, you got to take care of your body. You got to be physical, all the things. But if you're not with it mentally, you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't really matter how good you are physically.
All right, Coach. Well, appreciate your time today. The last question I have for you is, you're returning back to Cozad. You mentioned all these Dawson County schools that you're excited to go play again, all the different places you've seen, all the teams that you had faced in your playing days. Is there one team or one stadium, one field that you're very excited to get back to that's not Cozad?
It's kind of a personal thing, because we go to Ogallala, and I actually grew up in Ogallala as a young kid before we moved to Cozad. And I remember playing, tackle football as, an elementary kid with all the friends on that same field. So that's going to be – and we never played Ogallala in Ogallala when I was in high school. So that's going to be kind of I don't know if I'll get, that nostalgic feeling or anything like that, but that's kind of where the genesis of football for Jared Crick happened, was on that field with all my friends from Ogallala. So that'll be a cool experience, especially now that I'm moving on to a different stage of football in my life. And personally, that'll be cool. But I think everywhere we go is going to be an awesome experience. Imperial for the first time, that'll be my first time in Imperial. And I honestly forget where else we go. Gothenburg will be fun. But as far as all the other away games, I haven't really looked too deep into it just yet. We got to get through week 1 first, and then we can push on from there. But yeah, definitely going back to Ogallala, where it all started, that'll be a lot of fun for me, I think.
That'll be a good time. Hey, you've got all eyes on that first game. It's our NAB Preps top-rated game for Class C1 in that Week 1 matchup, Sydney-Cozad. I'm a Sydney guy myself. I tried to hold that to the very end, so I'm not pulling any punches or anything. I can't root for you in the first game, but every week after that, I've got you 2 through 9.
Yeah, we'll let it slide. I understand.
Well, Jared, I really appreciate your time. Look forward to hopefully keeping up with you throughout the season. Hopefully we can have you back on after maybe you pull a big upset in that week 1. I'll have to swallow my pride. We'll get you back on for something like that. But
you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You're a tough kid. You'll be all right.
All right. Thanks for your time. As always, again, that was Jared Crick for Cozad football. Make sure you're checking out everything going on with Cozad. You got plenty of media resource out there. You got like KRVN, you've got News Channel Nebraska. You've got so many people that are broadcasting your games. No reason you shouldn't be paying attention to at least a little Cozad football this year.
There's an outlet somewhere. You'll find it. Even if you don't want to listen to us, I'm sure they'll have it.
So once again, this is Small Town Ball for Herd at Sports NEB Preps. We'll be back again next time. Thank you so much.